Welcome back to another video for the today's video. In today's video, we give you 50 tips that's gonna help you to get better in Apex Legends Season 5. Remember, this is Season 5, so if you're in any one of the head, make sure to comment that down below. But even if you're in Season 5, some of these tips here will be able to help you to be able to play the game much better. Even if you're professional, you might not know this, and even if you're a bot, you might just know everything. This is 50 tips, so there's a lot of things. Start by giving this video a smashing like with post notifications on. That way you will never ever miss another tips video that I post. If you truly want to get better at the game, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as I post daily tips, facts, and other sorts of things that I've seen to enjoy, such as massive patch notes and everything like that there. So, next tip that I have for you guys, the first tip that I have for you guys is hostling your weapon. If you hostel your weapon, it allows you to go faster. Tip number 2, slide down banks while healing. If there's a bank near you and you need to pull off a med while an enemy is chasing you, make sure to slide down that bank. It's one of the best decisions and it will actually help you to get way better at the game. Tip number 3, strafing. Strafing means moving left and right. It may sound completely weird, but it actually makes you a way harder target, as you saw that I did to that target over there. I moved more to the left and that person barely made a move, so it was much easier to hit them as it wasn't as easy to hit me. Tip number 4, make a good gun combo. You want to have a good gun combo. By good gun combo, you want to have a good long range gun and you want to have a good close range gun. That way there, you have one of the strongest gun combos in this game. I recommend that you try this, as this is one of the wisest moves as yet. You should have a R301 or a Prola, G7 Scout, R99, G7 Scout, Prola. Just don't use any out of the whack weapons like an Alstar and a Master and a Mozambique or something. Use something that's good. Crouch when switching weapons. You get like a melee effect when you switch weapons. So if you crouch and then uncrouch, it actually removes that melee effect, and it's much easier and makes you a harder target in more of a fight when you need to switch weapons. Tip number 6, crouching up and down in a fight. Speaking about crouching, you should be able to be crouching up and down in the fight, especially if you have a bigger hitbox like Gibby or Caustic. This way here you have much harder target hit. I can't remind you how many times I've beaten players that are level 500. Some of my friends are level 500 and I've been beating them very badly. So make sure to comment down below and comment that down below. I mean, crouch up and down, and that's one of the wisest things to do. Now I'm going to give you from 7 to 10 tips telling you what you should do with the golden items. The golden helmet should be given to people who have good abilities, as the golden helmet helps to speed up your abilities. The person that you should give it to is Octane. No, never give it to Octane. That's the person you should never ever give it to. Give it to your Gibraltar, your Wraith, your Lifeline. Give it to people who need their abilities really quickly. Especially Pathfinder, as he has the longest tactical cooldown out of everybody in the game. The golden body shield should be given to people who have good reses. It could be given to anybody like Wraith, who have a small hitbox, or Gibby, who has fast reses with it. Fast heals with it. So I recommend that you give it to Gibraltar. He's one of my main choices to give this to. Next up that I have for you guys is the golden backpack should be given to the following 3 people: Gibraltar, Lifeline, and Mirage. You go invisible with Mirage, Lifeline's drone reses you, and Gibby has fast resing. It's one of the best people to give it to. Mirage will obviously be at the bottom, then Gibraltar and Lifeline, as Lifeline's drone does all of the work, leaving you to defend the person. And that's one of the best things ever. If there's nobody else on your team, you keep it for yourself or give it to the person that survives the longest. The golden knockdown shield should be given to Mirage. There's no one else that has like a special ability when getting knocked down. If anybody does get added with a special ability when getting knocked down, I will try to tell you a tip like that there. If it's not only Mirage, then give that other person who has a special ability. But right now there's no legends who has special abilities when they get knocked down. The next tip that I have for you guys is tip 11, having a good sensitivity. If you have a good sensitivity, you have the ability to be able to loot faster as well as kill faster and move faster. On PlayStation you can have advanced loot controls on, but for PC players you need to have this. And if you don't have advanced loot controls on, you should be able to have good sensitivity on. Next up that I have for you is use guns you feel good with. Mozambiques and stuff are weak guns, but maybe R99s or Prolas. Like, let's say you don't like the R99 but you like the Prola, use the Prola. Let's say you like the R99, you don't like the R99, you like the R301, then use the R301. I used to be that person that used to like the R301 more than the R99. I began to like the R99 more because I began to favor it in certain situations. We were at number 13. This is a tip when resing teammates. One person should be able to pick up the banner, and the other person should res them at the beacon. That way, that you get it much faster, and the work doesn't take as long instead of both of you picking up the banner and both of you resing. Tip number 14, find a good team. It's not as easy as said, but the best way to find a good team, in my opinion, is to search LCD or LCT. Just check the description and I'll have that down right up there. Or to join communities on your PS4. That's one of the wisest choices, in my opinion. You should be able to join communities. I already have like about 8 communities right now, just so I don't be able to play with weak bots that's not going to give me the things that I currently need. The next thing that I have is number 15, use legends that work well together. What's the point of using legends that don't work well together? Like before, Lifeline and Gibraltar never used to work well together because they basically had the same abilities and their ultimates was just completely different. They didn't work bad together, but they weren't the best gun combo to use in the entire world. I recommend that you go with Lifeline, Bangalore, Wraith, Pathfinder, Gibby, Gibraltar, Wraith, Caustic. Just go with people that work well together. Tip number 16, PvP friends in the firing range. PvP friends in the firing range allows you to basically battle a actual person. It may sound a bit weird, but it's more easier than shooting a target that is not moving in the firing range. Oh, you wanna know how to activate the dummies in case you don't have anybody to PvP with? I will make sure to link that in the description. Tip number 17, shield swap. Let's say there's a white shield and you have a white shield. If your white shield gets cracked, make sure to shield swap with the other shield. That way they will be able to get full shields, especially in the middle of a fight. Even if you have a purple shield and you need a white shield, you'll come back with 50 more HP and you're not even resing or doing anything. It's almost a game breaking thing. That's how big that is. Tip number 18, backpack space. At the early games, you want to know how to have good backpack space, or else it's going to end up ruining you in the future. Tip number 19, use doors to your advantage. That way they can use them as cover, use them to block enemies from entering. It's one of the biggest things in the entire game right now. I'm not even going to lie, you should be able to be doing this right now. Tip number 20, grenade doors. If there's an enemy hiding behind the door, grenade them. Arc stars and thermal grenades do the best thing, and thermal grenades will do damage to the door in case the enemy is hiding behind it. Tip number 21, don't thirst immediately. If you thirst immediately, it's not the wisest thing to do right now. I recommend that as long as everybody is dead, then that one person will. As long as you kill the last member of the squad, everybody will be dead. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind. Tip number 22, only thirst people that have golden shields. As you can see, I'm thirsting this Revenant over here because he has a golden shield. If we don't kill the Revenant, everybody on the team won't die. Tip number 23, slide in fights. Sliding in fights when you're entering doors, when you're entering the stairs and there's an enemy there, makes you a much harder target. This is actually a tip that I stopped using for a while, but now that I'm reminding myself when I was thinking about the 50 tips, I realized that this was one of the biggest tips that helped me to beat a lot of people in my fights. Tip number 24, give teammates loot when they need it. There's no point to not give them loot. I remember one guy that actually left the game because we asked for heavy ammo. We kept begging him for heavy ammo. We looked for heavy ammo everywhere, and every time we found it, he took it. He even left the game twice. Yeah, he accidentally joined the game. He AFK'd for a while, but yeah, you need to give your teammates loot as it'll help your entire team to win. What's the point of you having heavy ammo? And let's say somebody third parties you and you die and your teammate doesn't have any ammo to protect you, to save you. It's gonna bite you in the back one day. Tip number 25, go in the firing range to work on your aim. Shooting the targets, shooting the moving targets and just shooting targets in general will help your aim become way better. I recommend that you do that right now. Tip number 26, PC players. Make sure to download aim training apps and they'll be able to help your aim get way better. Tip number 27, the Legends abilities. Certain Legends abilities can block doors. Certain Legends abilities can block doors or can be used offensively to block doors, such as Revenant's Totem, Loba's Black Market Boutique. You can use Wraith's Portal to portal someone as soon as they enter the door, or have you Revenant's Tactical, so as soon as they enter the door, they can't use their abilities to play aggressive, especially when it's someone like Caustic who can knock out everybody in the building. Tip number 28. Pick up ultimate experiments, especially if you lifeline. You want to get that ultimate very early in the game. Tip number 29. don't use the same ammo types as your teammate. That way, you're gonna lose ammo, and it's not gonna be the wisest thing for you right now. I recommend that you use ammo with your team. It's gonna bite you in the back, and I'm telling you right now. Tip number 30, gatekeeping. If you don't know what gatekeeping is basically holding down an area where you know a team has to come, because the ring is gonna push them to come. The only thing they can do is either die to the ring or try and fight you and lose. Tip number 31, loot quickly. If you loot quickly, you're gonna get more kills, and you'll be able to just get better loot off the death boxes. There's no point of looting an area for 1 hour or staying in the same location for so long if you don't know an enemy is there. Just move to the next ring though. Move to the other ring if you have pathfinders. You can hack survey beacons. Just do something that'll be able to help you loot quickly. This is for King's Canyon. If you're on King's Canyon, make sure to loot the bunkers, as they always give you one golden item. The one near the edge gives you a golden knockdown shield. The first one that opened actually gave you a golden prowler. The second one will give you a golden sentinel, and the third one will give you a havoc. 32. Don't use snipers in ranked. I mean, as the ring gets smaller and smaller, snipers are gonna become more worse in a fight. You try and tell me you're gonna use a longbow or a freaking charge rifle at close range? That's just not the wisest thing right now. Tip number 34, push as a team. Tell me what, if 3 people use a R99 beaming someone to death, who do you think is gonna win? You think the person with the R99, with the 3 people with the R99 is gonna win, or the person with a PK or even a wingman? Very strong weapons. Unless the person plays their moves right, then they can beat you, but pushing as a team will ensure you to get your moves, and don't separate from your team, that they could bite you in the back. Tip number 35, divide ammos. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that tip over there, divide ammo wild. So, what I meant by dividing ammo is basically one person having light ammo, one person having shotgun ammo, one person having a heavy ammo and energy ammo weapon, one person having a sniper, and maybe a light ammo or a heavy ammo, or even an energy ammo if they're like an all-star. Just make sure to divide your weapons or divide your ammo properly, so just like I mentioned earlier, so your entire team has better loot. Tip number... divide ammo. Tip number 36, shoot the top of a cargo bot. If you shoot the top of a cargo bot, it will instantly go out, and it won't make much noise either. That way their enemies won't be able to hear you as much. Tip number 37, don't loot your partner's box, especially if they have like a golden knockdown shield and your partner kills the person and that's the thing and they take it. That's one of the most annoying things. You're gonna get angry if your partner did that to you, and your partner's gonna get angry if you do that to them. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind. Tip number 38, tracking. Even if you're a beginner at the game, you should know what tracking is. Tracking is basically aiming at your opponent. Yeah, using tracking and strafing is one of the wisest things in the game right now. Tip number 39, chase enemies straight after one is knocked down. If you're able to chase a squad while one is knocked down, the entire team will get scared. They can end up losing the fight just because of that one move you may have placed. Knocking down one of them means you push in a 2v3 or maybe a 2v2 in case the other guy died or left. Tip number 40, communicate with your team. The best thing to do is communicate with your team, and Apex Legends is a game that is a team-based game, so you want to communicate with your team. Tell them if somebody is resin. You can even say if somebody's resin. You can even say if there's an enemy there. You can even say if you loot in an area, or if you don't want to ping, put on a mic. There's some earphones that already have a built-in mic. Tip number 41, have something good to drink, like water, coffee, something that's gonna boost you, energize you, and relax you. Tip number 42, it's okay to run away from a fight. I know it's one of the hardest things to say, but running away from a fight isn't the worst thing in the world. It helps you to get healed, to get to cover, to think of what to do, to think how to separate this guy from that guy, then kill the entire squad one by one. Tip number 43, your PC players, this is for PC players, you can actually move much easier when you are looting a dead box. So keep that in mind, we move left and right, that way that people can't snipe you as easy. PC4 players, you can actually crouch while looting. I don't recommend using this, as I've tried to crouch while looting. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Tip number 45, crouch walking makes you completely silent, so make sure to crouch walk if you gatekeeping. Number 46, fight all fights. I know that a fight can be impossible, but if you divide, conquer, push as a team, and use all of the tips that I gave you, you will win that fight. I remember playing with a friend who just started off. He's just like, okay, let's just leave this fight. We ended up winning that fight, and we almost ended up winning the entire game. What could have happened if you never take that fight? Tip number 47. Don't call teammates trash. That's one of the worst things ever. It brings their self-esteem down, and it's just overall bad. I mean, if your teammates were bad, don't call them trash. Don't say they're stupid. Don't say they're bad. At least you can say that behind their back or something, so they don't get really angry. Like, say, okay, this guy wasn't the best teammate ever. You can say something like that there. Tip number 48. Don't camp. I mean, come on. How are you supposed to get XP or RP? You can get a lot of RP, but it's like you're not getting enough. You're not gonna make it a diamond if you camp every single game. Tip number 49. Best weapons. I did make a tier list on this here, so that there will also be in the description. Tip number 50. Best legends. That there is also another video that I made, a legends tier list. Make sure to check that out. I know, guys, this is gonna be pretty sad for you, but we made it to the end of the video right now. If you want to see more videos like this, smash the like and subscribe button with post notifications on so you guys never ever miss another video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the huge amount of support, and bye bye.